Welcome back to Homeopathy at Home with Melissa. Hey, Melissa.
Hey Bree, I'm super excited to be here tonight with you and Alicia. Alicia's going to tell us a cool story. But first,
Fan mail. We should get a little jingle for
we
fan mail.
should.
Yeah,
That would
that'd
be
be fun,
fun.
right?
Yeah.
So we have a couple today. One, just really sweet compliment. So just some nice encouragement I want to read. And then a question. So I'll read both of those for us. The first one is from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. This was wonderful encouragement, and I appreciate how you tied in together with my wandering walk with the Lord. Thank you.
So that was from one of our encouragement series.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
it doesn't tell me which podcast they're commenting on, but I'm sure that
yeah,
line's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really
It's
great
sweet.
series. That series is on YouTube. I have a playlist called Encouragement Series. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you see my playlist, you can see all of the ones that we've already done and the ones that will come in the future.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. Thank you from Greensburg. Okay, here is the question from Colorado. Hi, Melissa. I was wondering if you have any remedies or ideas that would help or cure eye floaters that seem to have come on and worsened with stress and age. Thank you for your time.
Eye floaters are becoming so
Uh-huh.
common, aren't they?
Even
Wow.
in younger people, though, I feel like it has been common maybe as with age, but
Yeah.
I have met some people recently who they're in their 20s and their 30s with floaters.
Do you know, I didn't even know what eye floaters were until Paul. So Paul's had them for like 20 years. My husband, who's younger than, like in his 40s and he's had them for a long time. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, well, so eye floaters, I would start with the Banerjee protocol. And this is on page 130 in the original Banerjee protocol book, which is Hamamelis 200C mixed with arnica 3C 4 times per day.
I mean, who is going to do that?
But you have to.
It
You have to. If
has to be
you're
four.
gonna do it, if you're gonna do it, you better do it right. And so it tells a little bit. So what they call it in the book is vitreous hemorrhage. And then there's a little paragraph under the title, vitreous hemorrhage. And it's eye floaters. And then there is a second line, but I would start with the first line and do it right. Do the right potency, Hamamelis 200C, mixed with, so taken at the same time as arnica 3C, and take it 4 times a day. So that means every 3 hours during your 12-hour awake time, right?
Okay, now I have an additional question maybe that goes along with this. If it's worse with stress, would you consider something like Ignatia or a support to maybe like why are they so stressed or is there anxiety involved?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We always want to address the mental emotional picture.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's always a mental emotional. So people will come to me with physical things and they're like, "Yep, that's it." And I'm like, "Well, we'll see about that because when I start
Something else going
talking,
on somewhere. Yeah.
there's something else. Yeah, there's everybody has mental
Yep.
emotional needs that they can, just use help with." So, absolutely. If it, I did notice that she said worse with stress, over the years. So,
Mhm.
yep.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's jump into this episode. And so I'm going to introduce Alicia, who is one of my clients. And we did a follow-up a couple of weeks ago, and I was super excited and encouraged about her progress and journey with acne rosacea because, Bree, we know how hard acne and acne rosacea is to help people with. So Alicia probably remembers when she told me, how very much better. I have my notes in front of me, how very much better she was. I was like, "Ugh, you have to come and encourage people, right? Because that encouragement is going to, I hope, help people stick with it longer. Now, it didn't take Alicia a very long time, but I want this to encourage you if you're dealing with anything skin.
Mhm.
Hang in there. Hang in there. Hang in there. So, Alicia, I would love for you to just to introduce yourself. Tell us about you.
Oh, sure. My name, yeah, is Alicia, and I am a stay-at-home mom of 6 kids. We travel full time. We call it RVing, but really we're in a converted school bus, and it'll be 1 year this next month. So I think we're still fairly new to it, but it's been really a cool adventure, and um yeah, I mean, my husband is really blessed to work from home, IT stuff, and so yeah, we're able to travel, and it's been great.
That is the coolest thing ever. I've told my husband, I don't know how many times, I would absolutely do that. But like, I need to be in a luxury RV just because
That is my husband.
I'm not, I'm not too woodsy.
You know
Like,
what? I I grew up camping. I love it, but for like long term, especially when you have lots of kids, I would not say we're not roughing it at all. We very much that's why we chose to convert a school bus because we shopped around for RVs and to find, an RV perfect for our situation was either way out of budget or just it's just really hard to find, 6 bunk beds like comfortably sized and we were able to do all of that with this and something as I don't know, simple to maybe other people, but important to me was just even using wool for insulation instead of fiberglass and, more toxic materials. We were able to choose all of that. So, um,
love it.
we definitely went all out.
How
Did
fun.
you convert it yourself? Like, did you do all the work, you and your husband? Wow.
My husband did, for the first several years, the first, like, 3 years, and then the very last push, we unexpectedly got pregnant with our 6th child, and so we actually it's amazing how it all worked out. I think it was God's timing for sure, but this other family, they have lots of kids, and they've been doing the school bus thing, for many years, way before we have, and they've already converted 2 school buses, and they happened to be in Arizona at the time when we were and just available. And we messaged my husband had a dream of like connecting with this family and he did. He messaged them and said, "Hey, I just have this crazy idea. Would you guys be interested in helping us finish our bus?" And they did. And so yeah, we had them do that and it just worked out so beautifully. It really did.
So is this indefinite? Like, are you just gonna be doing this for a while, or do you have a timeline?
We have a timeline for sure. The reason why we're doing it is well, one, we love to travel. My husband and I are both pilots by trade, even though we're not doing that at all right now. And so we like to travel and we really wanted to live very minimally so that we could get out of debt because we went to school and we got our pilot's license and things like that. It was very expensive. So we have a lot of student debt and we wanted to pay it off but not sacrifice having our own home and still, being able to expose our children to adventures and traveling. So,
That's
yeah, our
awesome.
timeline, I don't know, a few more years. We're making the best of our situation and till we get fully debt free, which will be a couple more years, I think.
So,
Fun. We could
so
do a whole podcast on this.
we
So,
really could. Yeah.
that's not what we're doing
Fine.
today, but you might be back, Alicia, even just to talk to me.
Sure.
Uh,
Okay.
Um, Alicia, so we started working together in August of 24, and we followed up in December of 24. And at that point, there was no change in acne rosacea, but I stuck with the same remedies. Do you remember that? Like, how did that make you feel? Do you remember?
Uh, I was very prepped for it, honestly, because I had listened to your podcasts, especially ones about acne. So I was emotionally prepped for that. But yes, I do remember that.
Love it. I mean, Bree, because you know why I'm asking that question. I think a lot of people would be disappointed, like, well, that's not working, so we have to do something different.
I think that terminology I hear a lot. And we have talked about this actually several times, but that this is not working or it stopped working or they want to make changes early, or they do and then come back and say, well, it stopped working, so we stopped. And because of what, and truly, I think it's just ignorance in what that looks like. And we have the benefit of seeing lots of people. I mean, before this, I just saw what I was going through. So what encouragement would I have? I'm just blindly trusting, like, please tell me what to do and hope it's right. But yeah, I know why you're asking that. So Alicia, that's awesome that you were on board and
Yeah,
prepped for it.
really knew it. Do you want to share just your acne rosacea story or history to help people understand or get
Sure.
encouraged?
Well, growing up, I struggled with acne severely on my face. Not so much rosacea, but the acne, and it was on my chest, it was on my back. And then in 8th grade, I was just desperate. My mom didn't really know what to do, and so we tried. We went to the doctors, the pediatrician, and they recommended Accutane. At the time, it was very new, just got done, being tested. And so that's what I did. I did that for about a year. That was not a pleasant experience, by the way, at all. That was is a very intense experience to go through at that young age. But I will say it did get rid of the acne, and I'm very specifically saying get rid of because it didn't cure anything, right? So that was my journey, and then I got married, and after my third baby, I had my first 3 kids in 3 years, one right after the other. And after my third baby was born in 2014, I experienced we had some kind of a lot of things just kind of happened all at once in our marriage and just in life. 2 students who just graduated college and newly married, lots of student debt, all those things. And I would say for me, it was a traumatic experience for me, and I feel like my body just kind of literally it broke out. It just was at its end, and I had it just all of a sudden it was like I just had this rash on my face. It just got red. It was like my skin was angry. It just is hot. It was itchy, flaky, very, very, very red. I mean, I would always get comments, of people saying, "Oh, are you okay? Like you look really flushed or really red, or or is it really hot outside?" Or just just comments like that because I knew it was very obvious. And so I went for um well, almost 10 years before I finally decided to address the acne itself. Um, I will say that I was exposed to homeopathy shortly after my third baby was born about 10 years ago. I started working with a naturopath for my depression. I was going through depression after having my third baby, and I knew I wanted to do it naturally. I'd never heard of homeopathy. And she just so happened to be a classical homeopath. And so she introduced me in homeopathy. And at first I was not skeptical, just not sure. I just didn't know how powerful it could be. I wanted, at the time I was experimenting with and just learning about herbs and just natural remedies myself. My oldest son was experiencing really bad eczema, and so we took him to see her too, and right away she got him on some remedies. I was on remedies, and I didn't see any differences with myself at the time, for like my hormones and menstrual cycle and things like that. I didn't see much of a difference, but for my son, who was like a few years old at the time, I saw homeopathy work right away. And that was just a huge blessing. I'm really blessed because I know what you guys are talking about. A lot of people say, oh, it didn't work. And I understand now why. And it's been many years, like over a decade since I've used suppressive drugs. So, and I've only used homeopathy as far as I knew how to use it. And so I feel like my body was prepped I was ready to start working with Melissa. Like I was ready. I knew that homeopathy was the answer. It was the only thing that was going to truly uproot. I knew I could do natural creams and things to soothe my skin and help heal the skin, but truly from the inside out, I knew that homeopathy was it. And so I was ready for that.
Love it. Do you have anything, Bree, you want to just comment on?
Well, I mean, that is really encouraging in general. Some of the things you said that we say, I think, all the time is the more you use remedies, you are setting yourself up for long-term health. And so that is a real thing where your body is used to responding to remedies. And honestly, to just like getting better. When you're doing that, I do think, and Melissa's a great example because you're so far into it that I look ahead all the time and I'm like, man, I can't wait till my kids are grown and I'm going to take a remedy once and it's going to be great. I see a big change though, just in the years we've used it, like you said, Alicia. So that's a really good point that you made. I am surprised too that you saw a naturopath who was a classical homeopath. I don't know that I've ever heard that. And that is not, I mean, usually they have limited homeopathy knowledge. So to see them combined, I would love to pick her brain, especially doing eczema. I wonder, like, what did you do? What other things did you do with your son? Well, which we can always talk about that
Yes,
later. But if she's still practicing, I would be curious about connecting with her.
she is still practicing. When I first started working with her, by the way,
Did she freeze for you, Bree? You're
Pose for a second.
frozen.
Yep.
Okay, you're frozen, Alicia. That's okay.
oh,
Oh, there you go.
You're
Okay.
back.
We heard you say, by the way.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
We, I went on Google. We were in Arizona. I went on Google and typed in natural doctor Arizona. And I got this list and I just looked at the list and I literally just said a prayer and said, help me pick one. And she was the first one I picked. She was the first one I reached out to and she responded. And it's just, I all believe it was all not coincidence and definitely God's hand. And I love working with her. I introduced her to my mom, and my mom still works with her to this day. Incredible story there with my mom, because she has been on steroids and antibiotics every year. She has COPD, and after working with her name is Dr. Rice. We're working with her for many years. She's finally off of having to do all those drugs, and she's using homeopathy, and it's healing her after all these years of struggling. It's been incredible, and so yeah, I'm still in connection with her. We're actually going back to Arizona shortly here, and um, I'm going to be reconnecting with her for other family members and other things. And I love to as I've learned homeopathy, I've been able to help my mom, and then my mom goes and reports back to her, and she's just very like impressed that that she's like, well, that's a really good remedy that's working really well. I'm really impressed with. So I love picking her brain too. I love being able to learn from her too. It's been such a huge blessing.
Love it. I also love, Bree, that you pulled out the point that she's been using homeopathy for 10 years. I think 10 years, right? So,
At least, yeah.
so maybe, that's why we just started in August. You had had some homeopathic treatment in the past for that, and you've been using homeopathy for other things like acute things and stuff. So maybe that's why it was a faster progression. So for those of you that are listening or watching and you've just started using homeopathy, don't be discouraged. Yeah, I mean, it might take a little bit longer than what we saw. What is that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So like 6 months? 8,
I
9,
didn't even
11,
count it.
12, 1, 2. It's like 6 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
6 or 7 months. So that is kind of fast. We don't usually see it that fast, but maybe because you've been using homeopathy.
I believe
Um,
that.
yeah, okay. So I wanted to know, Alicia, what did it, I had a question. Bree, do you have a question while I'm trying to, I should have written it down.
Well, I mean, it may be off topic, but what have you been using topically on your skin this whole time? And what do you use? Did you make changes in there? Do you wear makeup? What kind of soap? All the things people ask and are trying to navigate with skin.
I'm so glad you asked that because I was very intentional all these years to not even wear makeup. I only put very natural things like I make myself at home, like an oil, like with olive oil, jojoba, and I just only put things like that. I make a tallow cream that I put on my face. Very basic. That's it. And the only makeup I wear is just a little bit of eye makeup, for special occasions. But I deep down, I wanted to heal my skin first before I decided I wanted makeup. Um, I never wanted to put makeup on to try and hide it because I just felt like that would only exasperate and maybe make it worse. I didn't want to mess around with it. And I just truly wanted my skin to look healthy and glowing naturally. I don't like that feeling of covering something up. I just wanted it to be natural. So yeah, very
Okay.
simple.
How did you work through some of um the self-conscious part of it? And maybe you weren't. I know some people naturally are just, this is what I look like and it's fine. And then which is great. And then there are some people who really struggle with that, with looking, whether it's how they look or just the fact that people will comment on it. Um, so what encouragement would you give maybe, or I don't know, even if you're empathizing with what other people are dealing with?
Well, I will be very honest and say that is something I do struggle with very, very much. And so that has not been an easy journey for me. We don't really do family photos. I don't like, this is very, very much out of my comfort zone being on camera right now. My husband would definitely attest to that. I don't like people taking pictures of me or anything like that. And so it has been a struggle, but my encouragement is to know that there's always hope. And I don't I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I just always knew that homeopathy would be the answer, and I was just waiting for it when it would be the right time, the right season for me to be able to do this, and it finally was. And so I hung on to that, and I guess I just kept I was just patient, I guess. That's a yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Thank you for that. Um, I think that is encouraging because, we want to, it's easy for me to sit over here and tell people, try not to put anything, on your face but if we really think long-term health instead of short-term gratification, I'm always talking about that, then there's a reward to that. There's a reward to the think long term, don't think right now. Because nobody walks away from an encounter with you and thinks about, oh, I mean, nobody thinks about it more than we do ourselves, right? So we're the ones that continue to think about it, knowing nobody else is. They're not even remembering any of that. Especially when you just have such an amazing spirit and personality like you do, Alicia. It's just that shines through more than any look, the way you look. So I remembered my question. The process that you went through just with me, what do you remember, if it was like up and down or back and forth, or was it just straight got good?
Well, with the rosacea, specifically the redness and the itchiness, the skin part, that was very straightforward. It was very slow effort. And as you can see, there's still redness. I still have a way to go. Um, but very much improvement to the point where like my own family and and friends were starting to comment saying, "Wow, you just you look so good, you look so healthy," and your face is looking less red, especially for the ones who knew that I was, conscious of it and working on it. They were specific to say it. But yeah, the redness I would say was very linear. The acne itself is still very much like what you say. Sometimes with homeopathy, it's like two steps back, one step forward. Um, so that still is progressing for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Bree, do you have anything else?
Well, I guess I would like to know too, with your hormones now, are you guys doing hormone stuff too? Okay. So both together, because I think that can also make a difference. There's always a gut element to things, to skin, but I do think in women there's a big hormone element. So I was curious about that. And then you even have the history of the suppression, which may take some time, but it's also been a long time and you've used a lot of remedies. So, I mean, I know for you, you were ready for that, but there are a lot of people who, when I tell them this is really great improvement and it's quicker like this, they're shocked because to them it still feels long. They're like, this is 6 months of my life that I'm still not even all the way better either. So I actually like that we're doing this interview now where it's not like you're on the complete other side of this yet, but
Yeah.
to celebrate a huge improvement, huge movement forward, I think is really good for people in the middle of it. Like this is still worth celebrating and recognizing. Like keep going. You can do it.
Absolutely. That's why, yeah, I was so excited and encouraged at the last follow-up when she told me that can I share some of the stuff that you said? Is that
Sure.
okay. She said she said there's up and down. There are days when redness is not as red, and it used to get fiery red, used to burn and itch, and does not burn or itch anymore. No longer peeling. I know that feels and looks better. Um, Itchy and hot is gone. Used to be the whole face, but no longer dry. It's smooth. That's wonderful. Um, Acne on back, chest, neck, and scalp is also much better. It used to be a bunch of red bumps, but now it's random. And then, so we're also looking, so skin out in general, we're also working on hands that are worse in the winter and that comes and goes. And so, as we work on the gut and hormone health, we're looking for those things to get better also. But also remember, everyone, that with homeopathy, you heal from the top down. So, face and things are getting clearer before hands get better. But um, do you have anything else? Bree, do you have anything else for Alicia?
Yeah, I did have other question. I
Okay.
think one other one. Um, did you very often will tell people you might see improvement in other things that we were not necessarily even focusing on before you see improvement in the symptoms, especially skin. Did you see any of that? Like, were there any other changes that you were surprised by or that you didn't expect before you saw the skin change?
Um, I'm trying to, you know what, no, nothing that surprises me. And probably if I look at my notes, I might see something there, but nothing really surprised me. Like I said, I'm very familiar with homeopathy.
Yeah.
But I guess, but I will say that I do have some things I'm still working on that I have much hope for. That I'm still like, I know homeopathy is going to be answer, and I'm just looking forward to when those do get resolved, for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Alicia, is there anything else, any other encouragement that you want to share with people? Because that really is the point. This is not, we're not doing this to toot our horn and say, look at us and come work with us because we're so wonderful. But really, it is, we want you to be encouraged that homeopathy um, does correct issues on a deep level and it can be slow. So, do you have anything else you want to say to people? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but just in case you do.
Oh, I will say, I feel like sometimes I'm a missionary for God first, but I second is homeopathy. I really feel like that, and I'm very passionate about it, and I love to encourage other people about it. And I think the thing I like to focus on is not so much fear of the alternative; it's hope for to not lose your vision, to just get that vision back and know where true healing comes from, because when you have that understanding and appreciation for that, then you can better grasp what the process is and why you're doing what you're doing.
Love it. That's part of, I teach that often also. Know your why. Write down your why. And so then when you get discouraged, you go back and look at your why. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for being here. And We will see you guys next time. Thanks for being here.